It's difficult to imagine that anyone would intentionally harm a child. For many children, however, abuse or neglect is part of their lives. In Texas alone, there are more than 60,000 confirmed cases of abuse and neglect each year. Children in our East Texas communities are not immune from the devastation of abuse.
People don't believe that child abuse occurs in small cities, but unfortunately we get our share amount here.
Child abuse crosses all racial, ethnic, religious, and socioeconomic boundaries. Without intervention, children can carry the physical, mental, or emotional scars for life. The cost to society is staggering.
The Sports Guy Pigskin Bob back on the Friday Night Scoreboard Show Radio Network on 104.1, 105.7. My father was a charming, nice, wonderful, sweet man. He had these explosions. You know, it wasn't a daily. It wasn't even weekly. It was landmines where you would go 2 months and not think that it's ever going to happen again. And then he explodes over the littlest thing, and then bad things would happen. I sat at my window one night and watched my mom get loaded into an ambulance. And I wish there was something where you could go talk and have a place like the Martin House, the Children's Advocacy Center. I wish there was something like this for me when I was younger.
The staff and volunteers of the Martin House Children's Advocacy Center are committed to providing support and services to children experiencing physical or sexual abuse, domestic violence, or witnessing a violent crime. The center offers a comfortable, child-focused setting where victims begin the healing process and all aspects of a child abuse case can be coordinated. An advocate from the Martin House provides vital resources for the child and family as the investigation process begins.
When they come to our door, it's the initial stage of the interview process, so a lot of times the family may be overwhelmed. But while the child is being interviewed, I can sit with the family and see what kind of resources they need to help them toward the steps of recovery.
Advocates assist families with scheduling, counseling, or medical appointments, completing crime victim compensation applications, obtaining information and resources, or recommending other organizations in the community for additional support. Forensic interviews of children are conducted at the Martin House by specially trained staff. This process reduces the number of times children are interviewed and ensures they are questioned appropriately by professionals trained in forensic interviewing.
Starting out in the investigations, the children would have to tell the story to the patrol officer that went to their house. Then they'd have to tell me the story. They'd tell CPS the story, the district attorneys the story. Now with the Martin House, they have to tell their story once. We get the investigation started, set up the interview with the Children's Advocacy Center. The interviewers who are trained in forensic interviewing, they're the only ones that has to get a statement from the children.
When a report is made to law enforcement or child protective services regarding a child who may have been a victim of physical or sexual abuse or may have been a witness to any type of violent crime, then the child is brought to the Martin House Children's Advocacy Center for a forensic interview. A forensic interview is an interview conducted with a child. It is video recorded, and we conduct those interviews in non-leading and neutral ways.
There are 6 stages of a forensic interview. The first stage is just to prepare the room, prepare the child. That's when I go out and meet the child. The second stage is when you get into interview room, is just to build rapport with the child. Then there's the true life oath, where you make sure that the child knows the difference between a truth and a lie. And then after that, you'll gather details if any abuse has occurred. And then there's your closing statement, where we end every interview with thanking the child for talking to us today.
In most cases, the perpetrator is someone that the child trusts and loves, and they don't want to get that person in trouble. So coming in here for a forensic interview, I want the child to be as comfortable as possible and let them know that it's okay to talk about what's going on in as much detail as possible in their own words.
My older half-brother sexually abused me when I was starting about 9 years old. I remember the guilt and confusion just stayed with me for a long time, until I finally got some professional help as an adult. I think the hardest thing was that my mom didn't really talk to me about it through all those years, and not until she had to, because it happened again. This time it was about 40 years later. 2 other girls and same abuser, and my half-brother was convicted of child abuse in 2005. He was sent to prison, and he was 53 years old.
Collaboration is the foundation of all children's advocacy centers. A partnership agreement exists between the CAC, the investigative and prosecution agencies within the counties served by the Martin House. Evidence-based benefits of this partnership include better support for victims, more credible evidence collection, stronger criminal cases, and increased perpetrator prosecutions. While the forensic interview is in process, investigators and prosecutors working the case observe from a separate room. Having team members from partner agencies on site during interviews produces more effective and efficient investigations.
The development of the CAC, the Martin House, has been extremely beneficial, I think, to law enforcement, but also to prosecutors. Just the ability to come together, from the very inception of an investigation, I think benefits certainly not only the victims of these terrible crimes, but also it allows law enforcement and prosecution to gather evidence and to be better prepared when it comes to, moving forward in the prosecution of these cases.
It has been an incredible experience for our department to have the education, the information, the relationships, and the collaborations from all of the parties that have been involved. It helps our cases to be, more feasibly worked and to get to the root of the issues that we have in determining whether or not abuse and neglect has occurred with our families and or children.
The Martin House hosts case review meetings for partner agencies to discuss the status of open investigations and determine what ongoing support services may be needed for children and non-offending family members. Throughout the investigation and prosecution process, the Martin House advocates follow up with the family, offering support, referral services, case updates, and encouraging participation in specialized trauma-focused therapy with a licensed professional counselor.
The children and the parents that come to the Martin House are in crisis, and the Martin House gives them a chance for a little normalcy in their life. Trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy helps them to put what is very stressful in their life back into perspective, that this is not what defines them from now on. This is just one or part of their life. It's not going to be what the rest of their life is like. It doesn't mean that they're a victim. It just means that something bad has happened to them and they can overcome it. Children need a chance to process what has happened to them. You know, to deny them a chance to talk about it is denying them that it happened. They need to understand that it isn't their fault. They need to process the guilt and to talk about it, to find out that other people have had this happen to them, that other children have experienced the exact same thing, that they're not alone, that it's okay to talk about.
In essence, it becomes a dual role of holding the offender accountable for his or her actions, but also following up on and attempting to restore, you know, that child to a place where they can trust again, they can feel safe again. And I think by and large, you know, that's one of the main things that the CAC has given us locally the ability to do.
Our goal is to make sure that children are safe and protected. We take every measure that's necessary, utilizing all resources and all programs, as well as stakeholders that are available to assist us in this process. It takes a village to ensure that these children are protected and safe, and we are determined and committed to doing so on a daily basis.
Being aware and watching for signs and raising awareness and helping create an atmosphere where children feel comfortable saying things that are hard to say. And if we can create all those atmospheres and environments to help these children get to a better place, then I want to help do that.
If you suspect a child is being hurt, call the Texas Abuse Hotline, 800-252-5400.
I mean, I know that all children aren't going to be as lucky as I was, and if they don't get the support and the help that they need. And that's why I really believe in organizations like the Martin House, because the services that they provide our children are vital for their safety, their well-being, and for their future.